Everybody, this is Marcus, your host and moderator of the No Hesi Hoopcast, and it's my job to keep these two fellas in line. So let's hear from these two gentlemen. We got Black Moses up here, and we got Leak right here. Fellas, what's going on?
Hey man, I'm doing good, man. I'm hoping that the quality and the internet works out fine this episode. I know we had a couple issues on the last one, so I'm doing good though, fellas. How are y'all?
Yeah, man. I'm doing well too. I got a little bit of a little sore throat. Hopefully it ain't the vid. I just finished watching that Kevin Hart little stand up, but other than that, I can't complain. I'm just kind of pushing through, but I'm glad to be on No Hesi with the fellas. Mark, how's everything going with you, man?
Man, Leak, I'm doing really good, man. I'm excited for this week's episode, especially, man, with the first round, just kind of completing and us getting into the second round, man. I feel like we got a lot to get to, but I'm doing great, man. Want to take this time to thank everyone who is watching live and also those who are watching via replay. And do us a huge favor, man. Like this video, subscribe to the podcast, and also hit that bell notification so you can be alerted every time we go live, which is going to be every Monday. You want to be right here with No Hesi. So without further ado, man, let's get right into it. I think we're gonna go to the Big Apple, man, and talk about what happened in New York with the Knicks and the Hawks first round series. Black, I want to get your thoughts, man. What'd you think of that series?
Ice tray happened apparently. Listen, I've been extremely hard on this man all year. I hate the flop shots, the illegal tech. I hate the cut, really. But at the end of the day, I cannot knock what I saw from this man on the floor. I mean, he put on the show. He got his team involved. He kept illegal tech to a minimum.
Right.
And I think we all underestimated just how good Atlanta could be when healthy. So yeah, man, I this was tough. This was tough because the Knicks, y'all know that was me and Spike Lee. You know what I'm saying? That was our squad.
You was there.
Seemed like the lights were just too bright, man. Specifically for Julius Randle, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Leak, man, what'd you think about that series? Very contentious.
Man, I loved it, man. I loved it. That was for both teams to be their first time in the playoffs in a minute with these brand new squads, young players even. It was very exciting to see. That was a great matchup. And Trae Young was just too much, man. Too much. And it's so wild because his play actually carried over better in the postseason than it does in the regular season. He looks poised, he looks confident, he's getting anything he wants. And it came to my attention, first I want to get the stats up just so we can see exactly just what Trae Young was doing by the numbers. Looks like 9.8 assists per game, 36 minutes. So he's playing a heavy load and 29 points, damn near 30 points a game. So shooting 34% from the 3-point, and he'll do a little better than that, I imagine, in this series against Philly. But so far, even the Philly game, 35 points, 10. So I mean, we'll stay on that first round. But I mean, I gotta say, bro, Trae Young, he's borderline unstoppable.
Yeah.
And he's definitely putting his claim in for face of the future. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into it later. With the fall of Bron, right? We're looking for somebody to step up, right?
Hey, and the reason why he looks unstoppable is because he does have he basically has his own sky hook, so to speak, or his own fadeaway. What he does is he gets by his defender, he gets you on his back, and then he gets the floater. And if he doesn't have the floater, he'll get the lob, right?
Right.
And if he doesn't have the lob, he'll get the foul, right? So there's a three-part option to this play. He's gonna get past his man because he's gonna do a pick and roll. He's gonna be able to get in front of his guy. He's too cat-like quick. He can go left to right. He can change directions at an instance. He's extremely elusive, right? He's like a small scat back, so to speak. So he's going to get past his man. And once he gets past him, at that point, he has options: floater, lob, or foul. And it's pretty much unstoppable. So
aside from that too, Lee, he also is a 3 threat. So you got to go over the screen.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? In order to try to keep him from shooting that 3. So yeah, pretty deadly. Pretty deadly. I want to ask you fellas though, as far as my Knicks are concerned, moving forward, man, what do they need in order to like be competitive in a situation like this again?
Leak, if I could hop in, I honestly think that this was somewhat of an anomaly year for the Knicks. Now they can build on it, but I don't see them really as a 4 seed, going forward. One thing we learned from this series is Julius Randle is not a viable number 1 option. Like 2, yeah. 3 would be ideal, right? But I think they're definitely going to need to get another big piece in there, and I think that's how they can solidify that 4 spot going forward. But I think they're 9-8 if they stay how they if they come back next year in the same way that they played this year. So, Lee, what you think, man?
I think they were extremely well coached. I think that's kind of what the difference is between last year and this year. The team's not that much different, and they got some solid veterans like Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose. I forgot the guy's name who played really well from the Jazz. Alex Burks.
Alex Burks.
Yep, Alec Burks. Alec Burks. So excuse me if I said his name wrong, but they've got some Nerlens Noel. But I think the majority of it goes to the coaching. I would have to say it goes to the coaching. And they did draft pretty well too. But I would definitely say the coaching. They are more attractive than they were before. So that's a big thing because they might be able to get a free agent or 2 that has a notable name. But the team's still lacking, especially if Julius Randle and people in that organization think that he is the guy, because that's going to be a problem going forward, right? I could already see it right now. If he thinks he's the guy, then they got big problems. Somebody needs to come in and kind of put everything in that place. You know what I mean? So I heard Chris Paul was thinking about going there, but I don't think he should leave his situation for that. But that
RJ Barrett too. I mean, he was pretty much non-existent in this series. And he had taken big steps this season, as far as his progression and, him being more comfortable shooting the ball, and kind of like being an option or, kind of initiate the offense. But, it just seemed like playing in Madison Square Garden, playing in the city of New York with those rabid fans, you know what I'm saying? Those spitting fans.
Right.
It seemed like it was a lot for these guys to handle. I think though, as good as D Rose had been for them, they need a point guard. They need a true point guard.
Yeah, I think those are great points. Fun fact: Trae Young was the first person since Jordan to have 3 30-point games in MSG. So the boy was going off. So. Moving right along, fellas.
Hey, don't be surprised, fellas. Don't be surprised if Lonzo Ball flirts with the idea of signing with my Knicks.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
I've been hearing you use that possession in front of it. So
yeah,
just keep that
up. Moving right along, fellas. The Bucks got a little get back against the Miami Heat in the first round. Let's talk about the Heat and really that series as a whole. What did we think about the Bucks versus the Heat? Leak, I'll go ahead and start with you on this one, man. What do you think?
Matt, it was a complete disaster for the Miami Heat. I didn't understand it either, man. I mean, I was just like, yo, what happened? You know what I mean? Where, why? I just didn't understand it. But Chris Middleton played incredible. I was appreciative of watching him kind of rise to the occasion. He's been doing this for some time now with this team, with this Bucks team, as far as like just being in this role. So it was good to see him looking very comfortable as that wing scorer against these guys. I think Giannis played great. He did his thing. I'm really like Jimmy Butler did not look good at all, and I don't get it. Some say he was exposed, right? I mean,
hey, look, hey, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, and for good reason. I mean, you know, he did not look like a star player at all. Didn't even look like he'd been to All-Star game. He looked like a good glue guy that had a decent series. You know what I mean? But Tyler Hero, I mean, I don't know what happened to him. You know, that guy completely disappeared. No type of toughness. You know, no type of shot creating ability. So it was very disappointing. The Heat are back to the drawing board officially. They're gonna have to. I'm not saying blow it up, but they got to figure something out, and they got to make a big change coming into this next season if they want to stay competitive. I like the mentality of the team, but they just didn't look like they had it. I agree.
Yeah.
Yo,
what do you think, Black?
This run for the Heat, it's making the bubble look a lot more fluky, right?
Yes.
Like you guys already said. I mean, listen, man, leave Jimmy Butler open, and this guy, he looks like, you know, I mean, he looked Giannis like from three, right? Just allow Jimmy Butler to shoot pretty much, because what he wants to do is he wants to get into his Trae Young package, where, you know what I'm saying, he gets into two-footed defense and either gets to the line or gets a floater off. Well, you know, I feel like defenses realized that after looking at their run last year, and they were like, well, we'll just let you shoot, bro. We'll let you beat us from there. And as we saw, he couldn't do that. He could not do that at all. On top of that, man, seems like Bryn Forbes used his VC to cop shooting boosts, because this brother could not miss, right? I mean, this brother was on fire throughout that entire series. I think one game he had like 10 threes.
Man.
Yeah.
It was definitely some big payback, to quote James Brown. But so fellas, my question to you is, what's next for the Heat? Do they blow it up? I mean, because I'm just gonna be honest, guys. The UD bark, it's falling on deaf ears. It's getting played out. I mean, we need to move to a different business model here. What do y'all think, man?
Well, I think UD was definitely auditioning for some type of assistant coaching gig there, right? I think his career path is leaning towards, you know, some type of big man coach for the Miami Heat. But
in that Alonzo Mourning bag, right?
Right. Give him a clipboard and you know, see where we go from there. But I think these guys need a legit number one, man. They need a legit number one. They're gonna. I'm sure they're gonna try to flirt with a Kawhi Leonard if Kawhi Leonard wants to, you know, leave his situation out there in LA. But they're gonna try to make a push for a star. If they don't, then I think they're gonna be a middle of the pack, you know, almost purgatory team moving forward.
Yeah, Lee, what you think, man?
I think it's really the same thing Black said. They gotta make a you know what I mean? You know, that's kind of how Pat Riley's looking at the situation right now. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna have to make an all-out attack at Kawhi Leonard and get him to sign a contract. I mean, they're pretty much gonna have to pull out all the stops. If they get him, that'd be a good look. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can see that actually fitting quite well. But I mean, at this point, like even Kawhi, like he's frustrating for guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Guys don't like his lack of leader, has lack of vocal leadership. You know, he's aloof. You know, he doesn't necessarily galvanize or lead the team. So I mean, I mean, the Heat are pretty much just in a bad boat right now. I ain't gonna lie, man. I love the culture. I love the jerseys, right? I love South Beach. Of course,
South
but
Beach.
I just don't think that they're set up to win a championship like they think they are. They might want to rethink their position in the East and kind of adjust the way that they're building their teams.
That Oladipo trade was a miss.
Whew, big miss.
Right?
Yeah.
Man.
Well,
what does Oladipo's future look like?
If he wasn't injured, that would have been a good look. I would have liked to see it over there if he wasn't injured. But health is another part of the game.
Hey, my father used to say the best ability is availability, man.
That's facts.
Right.
That's facts, fellas. Well, we're definitely gonna be keeping an eye on what's going on down there in South Beach. But we're gonna move a little more south, and we're gonna talk about what's going on in Memphis, man. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant, their series with the Utah Jazz. I want to hear it, fellas. What do you guys think about that series, man? Black, we'll start with you on this one.
This is the needle. It did not move for me. This is pretty much a wrap once Donnie Mitch got healthy. It was pretty much over as we all thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The Grizz are definitely a team on the rise. They've got a couple good young stars in Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant. I also think that Dylan Brooks, or a.k.a. Dylan Crooks, a.k.a. Villain Brooks,
right,
is
I like
also
that.
a two-way stud, but they need more. They need more, and they need to get a little bit older before they can start stepping with the big dogs, as we saw, right?
Yeah. I like what I saw from Ja Morant. I really did. I think he averaged 30 a game in the series. And I like the gutsy win game one. He averaged 30 and 8. That's what he averaged for the series, which is amazing as a first time playoff person coming in. And especially the Jazz are a very good coach team. I think they're third in defense in the league. So, that was for him to drop 30 and 8 on that team on a nightly basis in a 7-game series, that's very impressive with his age, his youth. With that being said, like Black said, when Donovan Mitchell came back, it was a wrap. And the Grizz were an afterthought before the series even finished, honestly. So shout out to Utah. They're a very well coached team, and they play amazing team basketball, and Donovan Mitchell takes them over the top. So, I mean, I like the Grizz, though.
Keep it a buck, fellas. Even after watching this series, do you guys care about the Jazz?
Yes,
not at all.
I do.
I do. Go ahead, League. I'll let you go.
I think Jordan Clarkson makes the team very interesting. As far as when Donovan Mitchell's not the focal point. And I think Donovan Mitchell, he's full of late game heroics. So as long as the Jazz can keep their team in the game, which the 3-point shooting, Mike Conley's game management, right, and the well coaching does that. Donovan Mitchell, I want to see him do what he does at the end, and I feel like he could probably do it against anybody. We're gonna see because I think they got the Clippers next, but yeah, man. I mean, I like the Jazz. I think the Jazz they're probably the best team in the West. I ain't gonna front.
The Jazz are the J. Cole of the NBA. Boring. Shout out to J. Cole.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know if the Jazz move the needle. Like, if we have a Jazz Nets finals, I mean, who's tuning in for that, right?
Right.
But we will, because we're not, casuals. But anyway, I digress.
You gotta respect good basketball, Black. Right. All right, you have to respect that. All right, that's a part of the deal, man.
They're looking like the Spurs of this generation right now.
I can see that. Right, they're lightweight the Spurs with like trap drums, right?
Oh man! All right, fellas, moving right along here to a series that went 7 games. It just closed out yesterday. Man, there's a lot to get to in this one. The Mavericks, specifically the Mavericks versus the Clippers, man. What did you guys think about that series? Very exciting. Leak, we'll start with you on this one, man. What were your thoughts?
Oh man, that was an amazing series. Probably the best of the first round. Just without overthinking it. I think what Kawhi and Luka were able to do in that series really gave the fans a treat. Particularly Luka. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, according to my understanding, he is the best player in the NBA.
Woo!
At 22 years old, to be able to carry this team that way he did, to be able to do everything all across the board. Who was touching him at 22 years old? Who was as skilled and as successful and as confident in him leading the team, being the number one guy with not a clear number two in sight at this age? And the only person you can say is LeBron. And he looks better and more skilled and more poised and more confident than LeBron did at the age of 22. He's carrying. There's no mistake. There's no confusion. He's carrying these guys. These are misfit toys, so to speak. Right? He's putting them in a sack and throwing that sack over his back, and he's going with it. And if he didn't have that nerve damage going from his neck to his arm, he might have put this series away in Game 6. I ain't gonna front. But I mean, him being the focal point, everybody knowing what he's gonna do, the lack of athleticism, the lack of speed, and for him to still be able to dominate against the two best wing defender tandem in the league. I gotta say, I think Luka at 22 years old is the best player in the NBA. Now, of course, you got guys like Kevin Durant, right? Who's on the Brooklyn Nets. He of course, Kevin Durant is a great player, all-time great, but he's not actually able to show how great he is in this situation again, because you got Kyrie Irving, you got James Harden, you got a team that's set up and put together partly by him, right, to win the championship. Same with LeBron, team put together by him to win the championship. Same with Kawhi Leonard, team put together by him to win the championship. All these guys are handpicking their situations, and Luka is just got drafted into a situation and just literally elevated everybody there. So he doesn't have a coach, right? He's got the coach that he had when he came in. There's no GOAT that signed up to coach him.
Hey, you slighting Carlisle?
Yeah, Carlisle's solid.
No, I'm not slighting Carlisle at all. Carlisle's a very good coach, and he's consistent, and I think they work well together. And I think Carlisle should continue to be the coach. But what I'm saying is, they didn't get rid of a coach for Luka and then bring in a guy to coach Luka, right? No, he just walked into the situation and did his thing. He's literally the greatest European player we've ever seen, aside from the accolades. Obviously, he's only been in the league for 3 seasons, but no, I don't think anybody's touching Luka. I mean, he's doing what James Harden does, but he's 22 years old.
These are facts.
And James Harden had Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, right? I mean, Luka doesn't have anything near that. He's got THJ, right? That's what he's got. And no knock on THJ, but I mean, that guy's, he's the modern. He's Anthony Morrow, with a better number. You know what I mean? So I think Luka. I got nothing but praise and respect. He fought it out too. No emotional stuff, right? As far as losing, as far as competing. Right, none of that hanging his head. He fought against them. He went at them. Right, picking out mismatches. Right, searching for Pat Bev. Right, searching for Paul George. Searching for Terrence Mann. Searching for Zubac. Right. So, I mean, I can't say enough. I can't say enough about him, man.
What?
Hey, Luka really let his nuts hang in this series, didn't he? The confidence and poise and composure of this kid is crazy, man. In big moments, it seemed like he's never rattled. And like y'all said, I mean, he's going against, for all intents and purposes, the Clippers should be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And that did not matter. The brother averaged almost 40 points a game and almost, 7 assists and 7 rebounds a game. Probably did.
Yeah.
So that being said, if it wasn't for a Herculean effort by Kawhi Leonard in Game 6, this series was over. This series was over. And that being said, I'm not scared of the Clippers whatsoever. I think the combo of Kawhi and Paul George doesn't seem to be working the way they thought it was going to work. And that's not saying that Paul George and Kawhi aren't playing well. I just don't think that them two together is moving the needle like they thought it would. Bringing in Rondo, Reggie Jackson chucking up a lot of shots, a lot of ill-advised shots with the visor on, for some reason. Visor.
Right. Looking like a biker.
Coach Lou, looking like stepped on Lou, basically, right? Looking like stepped over Lou. Trying to adjust to Luka, pretty much just kind of, urinating on the court, claiming his territory on the court, right? I think for Dallas, that Porzingis move, man, that really just didn't do it, right? That didn't do it for us. Like we thought. We were thinking that this was gonna be basically white Bron and AD, right?
Right.
and it seems like Luka, if Luka could, he would move Kristaps tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, there's a compilation, and we were talking about this off mic leak. I don't know if you want to pull that up or not. There's a compilation, it's 3 minutes straight of Luka running the pick and pop with Kristaps, and pretty much taking on the entire defense, leaving a wide open Kristaps, calling for the ball, and he would rather go at 4 defenders than pass to that man. So
yeah.
That being said, Dallas has a lot of they've got a lot of decisions to make moving forward, but hashtag get Lucas some help at this point.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely highlighted a good point that he's carrying that franchise on his back. I do have to ask
Kristaps Porzingis.
There's a great question, and want to pause really quick to say thank you guys for getting active in the chat. We're going to get you on the screen. If you're active in the chat, we will get you on the screen. But Maestro had a great question, fellas. Are the Clippers taking over LA, or have they already done that? I want to get your thoughts on that.
Like, I feel like he asked that just so I could go in, and I'm not taking the bait. You know what I'm saying?
No?
Right, we all know that the Clippers are in the basement of Staples right now. You know what I'm saying? They're LA's little bro. And if they're not careful, this thing could blow up and they could be trashed all over again. So this next series, we're gonna have to pay a lot of attention to the body language of Kawhi and see what he's looking like, considering the fact that contract's up. You never know what. You know what I'm saying? Only Uncle Dennis knows what Kawhi wants to do moving forward. So, no. To answer your question, no.
What you think, Lee?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no as well. I mean, Kawhi is probably gonna be out of here before they could even raise the banner. Honestly, but I feel like they could if LeBron. Say what?
I was gonna say, look at Porzingis just wide open.
Right. If LeBron retires, and they don't have, and Anthony Davis is still playing like Mr. Glass, then yes, I do think the Clippers would take over. But I think Kawhi is gone pretty sooner than later, right? And I don't think he's gonna continue to. He's not gonna set his legacy off of Paul George's play, right? Yeah, he's not gonna do that.
Right.
I don't think it looks like it, but I don't think they will take over LA. The Lakers have deep rooted roots in that city, in that building, and the people of LA. So no, this will come and go. Just give it about a 5-year window, and the Clippers will be back. Probably be in another city, honestly.
Yeah.
Fellas, man, going back to Kristaps, man. This guy, at one point, we were talking about him as a quote unquote franchise guy.
Unicorn.
What do you think? Like, what do you guys think has happened? I mean, this guy wants zero contact. He's 7'3". He wants zero contact, as you see in this clip here, he does not want to roll to he want to be a 7-3 catch and shoot.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why he's playing this way. I don't understand why he's not utilizing his size on the inside. But what do you guys think happened to this guy outside of the injuries? Obviously, what's going on with this guy, man?
Mark, you want to touch on that? Because I know he's soft. He's softer than Sharman. He's softer than a cashmere scarf.
Yeah.
Really is. But go ahead, Mark. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, just looking at him out there, he looks like a Martian out there. 7'3", way at behind 30 feet. It just looks bizarre. I think Luka is telling him, dude, if you pick and roll, you might get the ball. But I think to speak to his confidence, I think part of it is injury. I think he's become gun shy, and you spoke to it, Black. He doesn't want contact now. He never was. He always was a frail guy, but I think being thin and then experiencing the injuries that he's experienced, it has him playing it safe. And I think it's just sad to see because, man, when he was in New York before the injury, he was the unicorn, right? KD was thinking about going to New York to partner up with him. So it's just sad to see, man.
Hey, somebody must have knocked that horn off of his forehead, didn't they?
Facts.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really say anything other than what you said, Mark. I mean, the guy is soft. He does. I mean, I think the perfect word in this situation is gun shy. I think you said it perfect. He's gun shy. You know, he's and I've noticed too, he's so gun shy that when he does shoot the ball, he pulls his hands back very quick. It's like, bro, be confident. Hold that thing up. You know what I mean? Like you 7'3". Why would you not follow through? Right? You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah. It's just that's not working out, and that's got to change instantly. You know what I mean? And it would have been good if it would have worked. Like you said, Black. It did seem like a Euro Bron and a Euro AD. You know what I mean? Which I'm sure Adam Silver was tantalizing over. You know what I mean? Being that he's putting together Project Purify, but that's another situation. I definitely think Luke is going to need a better co-star, and it's probably going to be a brother this time. You know what I
mean? Hey, peep this, y'all. How does it sound? I don't know about the logistics, but how does this sound? Pairing Luka with a Karl Anthony Towns, right? Then possibly bringing in a Buddy Hield type, Chuck, like a Chuck kick, like a side kick, but like a Chuck, a Chuck kick. What do you guys think about that, man?
I think you're trading one softy for another.
That's what I was thinking. Right? Yeah, man. Yeah. Both of them guys are extremely gentle down low. All right, and I think Luka would be more tired of what's the name? Cat than he would have. At least him and Porzingis could both cuss each other out in their language. You know what I mean? Like, with Cat, like there's nothing there. So I do like the idea of adding Buddy Hield though.
Yeah,
he's basically like a delusional THJ, right?
Right. But the thing is, THJ will catch and shoot it, and even if there's a closeout on him, he'll still shoot it, right? Yeah. I feel like Buddy wants to put the ball on the floor more than he should, right?
Yeah.
And I can see Luka being frustrated with that. He's like, "Yo, when I pass you the ball, just shoot it. You don't need to think." You know what I mean? Like, don't sit there and scratch that hawk thinking about what you should do after I pass you the ball. Like, just shoot it. But also, Black, we talked behind the scenes, and you mentioned trade that not necessarily a trade from the Mavericks side, but what the Mavericks will be looking to get. I would want you to kind of say that to the people more so than that cat deal.
Yeah, I was spitballing the little cat narrative, but really, what I think, especially considering the fact that this other team that I'm going to mention is probably going to be looking to make some adjustments as well, I think CJ McCollum to the Mavs would be a all-star situation, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. CJ in Portland is pretty redundant at this point. I think Dame would be better suited to be paired with a more pure facilitator in the backcourt and let him, get his chuck on, if you will. Efficient chucking, but chucking nonetheless, right?
That way, like a Conley, kind of like a he need more like a Conley,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. A Rubio type of,
Right,
you know what
a
I'm saying?
CP, right.
And then that being said, you pair CJ with Luka, who's also a playmaker himself, and kind of allow. I mean, we know CJ could be a catch and shoot if necessary, but it also is a backup plan if ever the defenses want to stack up on Luka. Just pass that thing over to CJ and kind of let him do his little Chris Brickley exercises out there.
Yeah. I think that could be interesting, man. We definitely gonna keep an eye on that.
Hey, put it this way: CJ in Portland, that experiment must end. All right, you heard it first on No Hesi.
Couldn't agree more, fellas. We got to keep it moving. Speaking of Portland, let's go there and let's talk about more in depth about that series, Portland versus Denver. What did we think about that? And you kind of touched on what Portland needs to do, but just give me your general thoughts of both teams involved in that series. Black, we can continue with you, man.
Man, I think what we saw was right now Dame is in a scenario very similar to Kobe before Pau Gasol got there, where I mean it's pretty much just him playing a whole lot of hero ball. I mean, the way the team's set up, Nurk's not it. All right, let's be very clear about that. Nurk's not it. But like I said already, him and CJ, they kind of do the same things, except CJ's just not as good, right?
Yeah.
The addition of Carmelo it was novel, but I don't think Carmelo is gonna help get you over any type of hump. I mean, outside of that, it just seems like they surrounded Dame with a whole lot of chuckers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Rocco ain't it. Really, he's not 3 and D'ing like they thought he was gonna 3 and D. So I feel like Portland's in a situation where they might want to blow this thing up before it gets. The only thing that is messing everything up is the fact that Dame Lillard is making $50 million a year. So it's not like they can really pair him with any other superstars. So I don't know. It's not looking good in my eyes. They got rid of the coach. I saw they're looking to get Jay Kidd. I think Jay Kidd's going to be, taking a lot of calls this offseason. But, yeah, I mean, Portland's just a perennial first-round exit as constructed right now, man. I don't know what y'all think.
Yeah, League, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Man, that was a good series as well. I think with Denver not having their starting point guard in Jamal Murray, who went off last year in the playoffs and the whole bubble as a whole, they also didn't have Will Barton. I think the Blazers expected to win that series, and the fact that they could not get it done, despite Damian Lillard having even going to another level than what he was before.
Right.
That's an indictment on everyone else in the organization, not named Damian Lillard.
Right.
And so moves will be made. They already started. They kicked the tire by getting rid of Terry Stotts. Right. So he's out of here. Jay Kidd, unfortunately, will not be the coach. He did turn down the concept of him being. He took his name out of that pot because of basically Dame put him on blast by publicly stating that he wanted him, and he kind of compromised the coaching search for the organization and the fan base. So he's stepping back from that, and I get it, because what it does is the idea of that coaching search being compromised, especially with a guy like Jay Kidd. Now people start looking into his past. Now people start saying, why he shouldn't be the coach just because this player wanted him, right? And it starts that conversation of player power. It starts that conversation of, digging into Jay Kidd's history. And I don't think anybody, I don't think we need to be doing that. So. Everybody's got a pass, including J Kidd, and they
Right.
don't need to be dug up, right? You know what I mean? So,
But here, are you saying that J Kidd wouldn't be a good candidate though?
no, he would be. I think he'd be excellent coach for them. But he took himself out of the mix. He publicly stated that. So
Okay.
now, you know, we're looking at other guys like Chauncey Billups, like possibly Sam Cassell, maybe even trying to pull Dan Toney from the Brooklyn Nets, which I wouldn't mind seeing because
I don't want that, man.
if you put Dan Toney and Dame together, right? That Dame Toney, right? Now you got Dame with that carte blanche that James Harden had. You know what I mean?
He already has that.
but the offense, the rest of the players don't have the same mentality as what D'Antoni system would do to them, right? Mm-hmm. Really, it's for the role players, right? You know, the coach, the system, all that coming in is for the role players. None of that's for Dame. He's separate from all that, right? He's separate. The coach will have to deal with him on a one-on-one basis. The system will have to be dealt with the players. And Dame eludes, you know, the idea of a system the way he plays, and he's earned that. You know, I don't like it much, but he's earned that. So
can we talk about personnel real quick for the Blazers and what Dame actually really needs? What do you guys think? What do you guys think he needs to be surrounded with to maximize, you know, his true potential?
I think
he's going to be wasting his talents out there. A lot.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me because he's not like necessarily he's not allowing guys to get warmed up to where they can like really contribute. Like, you know, like, I mean, CJ is a very good player. Nurkic is even a good player. But the fact that they don't get to develop their momentum and get the touches like that when the pressure's on and they get the rock, sometimes they don't know what the hell to do, you know, because they have not felt the rock in multiple possessions, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, passing somebody the ball who won't touch the ball for the last 5 minutes and then expecting him to make a crazy play, you know. So I don't necessarily know what Dame needs. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that kind of player needs. You know what I mean? Because they're not necessarily utilizing the pieces that they have. But what do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, for Dame, he's getting into that. He's getting into that category where it's either his own team or a super team. I don't know if kind of like Kyrie, like where Kyrie was in Boston. It was like to have good players around. I don't know if that's going to work. Now you get him with a superstar that may dwarf him a little or maybe on his level, and then you might see something. But I don't know, man. It's like Lee said, I really can't put my finger on what he needs. I think Dame is just going to be that he's kind of that AI kind of, he doesn't want to move anywhere. He's very loyal, and it's hard to pair someone with him. You know what I mean? You almost have to build a team around him, and they've been trying to do that. It just hasn't worked out.
That contract makes it extremely difficult to do so as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can forget about that when you're making $55 million a year. Or playing with another superstar, they would have to come in and take a cut, basically. And I think that also is unrealistic as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. They definitely have to make some moves. There's a Harry Giles sighting. I didn't even know he was on the roster. But yeah, man.
I don't think he knew he was on the roster.
Right.
Hey, come on, man. The guy's working hard and training with those guys every day, Black. Of course he knows he's on the roster. Don't let Kwame Brown come for our show, dog. Relax, man. All right. You're giving Kwame the alley-oop to go in to start pulling No Hesi's card. You know what I mean?
Right. While on hooping.
Right. With a stick.
Right.
Hey, Kwame, if you're watching the show, man, we would love to have you as a guest, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It seems like he's dealing with like the grassroots platform. So Kwame, we'd love to have you. You come here. You come here and give us some of Mama's cooking, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So, fellas, man, we got to talk about it. I mean, the elephant in the room, right, fellas? This is what we've been building up this whole Hoopcast about.
Hey, hold
So
on, Mark.
listeners,
Mark.
yes.
Before you get into that, we got 2 series on the East that we missed.
Okay.
We got the we got Washington. We got the Washington series, and we got the Nets Boston series.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we save the best for last.
Save the best for last. So let's talk about Washington, man. Let's talk about that series with Philly. What do you guys think about that? Black, we can start with you.
I mean, I think it pretty much went the way we thought it was going to go.
If you want to talk about it so much, Black, right?
Well, look, I just know the No Hesi community is waiting to get on my head top. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to prolong the inevitable, if you will. But no, I mean, I think we pretty much expected Philly to roll over the Wizards. They're just not a good team. They fought hard to get into that last slot, but by that time, everybody was pretty gassed. It looked like. The one thing that was interesting in the series, though, was the fact that Joel Embiid went down. He went down bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see him moving forward. I mean, he had a great first game against the Hawks, but that injury could come back to haunt them. And also too, I am looking a little different at Philly moving forward, just based on the way they won the series.
Yeah, I have to agree. Lee, what are your thoughts, man, on you're the resident DMV native, man? So I mean, what's your thoughts on it?
Man, I gotta say, like Black said, Washington was gassed by the time they got into the playoffs. By letting themselves fall behind so much during the regular season, they had to push to get into the play-in. And once they did that, they had to push to get out the play-in and into the playoffs. Yeah. And once they got into the playoffs, they
were lightweight played out.
Yeah. They played themselves, once they got into the playoffs. I think Joel Embiid had a monster series. And yeah, he went down the last game, which that was, or the game before last, that was interesting. But overall, man, I do not like the way the Wizards are set up. I don't. Russ is another guy where it's like, what do you do with him? You know what I mean? Like, how do you set up a team around him?
Around a hoop sociopath, basically.
You know what? It's crazy. Like, I would sound crazy for saying this in a normal setting, but Russ kind of needs to come off the bench, right? Hey, he'd be an explosive 6-man, all right? Probably the most explosive, right? We see a 6-man bag that we've never witnessed in the history of hoop. But what are the chances of that, right?
I think AI came off the bench
a little bit later on in his career, but yeah, man, I think the Wizards probably gonna have to blow it up, man. But Philly, I do like the way they play. Black, you got reservations about Philly now. I think they handled their business that first round, and not only that, but they came back from being down 40 against the Hawks, and somehow were able to contain Trae Young in the second half of that game one in the second round. And Joel Embiid had he had game high 38, I think, and they were able to come back from that deficit. So both teams in that series, the Hawks and the Sixers, both feel like they could win that series based off how that game one went. The Hawks went up 40. They feel like, oh yeah, we can get this series, no problem. And the Sixers came back from down 40. So they feel like, oh yeah, if we get our minds right to start the game off, we can handle them.
So, what's shaky for me is the defense, which was their strong point prior to the playoffs. And obviously Trae Young is a non-for-real player, and you're not going to really be able to stop him. But I mean, it just seems like defensively they're not looking as strong as I thought they'd look in this series to start.
Well, they let Danny Green guard Trae Young for the most of the first half, and the second half you saw Simmons and Thibault saw a lot of Trae Young after that. or I should say the other way around. Trae Young saw a lot of Simmons and Bible. So that was the adjustment, and I guarantee you they'll be very cautious about Trae Young starting the game off comfortable in game 2. So
like the Green Goblin, right?
right. So yeah, I like the way Philly handled their business. This round, that's a different story. We'll kind of get to that later.
Right.
But I think Philly handled the Wizards as if they had them under contract or something like that. You know. But
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think about it?
I thought it was a good series for Philly to get out of it 4-1. I thought maybe Washington might be kind of making a press to stretch that series, but they were able to close it out. Going forward, I was glad to see Embiid come back game 1 and really look like himself. So I'm up on them. You know what I mean? I'm pretty I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. So man, it was good. It was good, and I definitely think they need to blow up Washington. So I agree with that.
They all need to just blow up Washington D.C.
DC,
right?
The capital as a whole or the squad?
Right.
Hey, listen, hey, brothers, if you're living in Washington, get your wives, get your kids, get up out of there. We're gonna blow that whole thing up. All right.
Hey, Northern Virginia is a very nice place to live, might I add. You know.
Yeah. Well, fellas, we got to move on to this series. The Nets Celtics. What did you guys think of that series? It kind of went as expected, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Leek, we can start with you on this one, man.
Here comes the Tatum bloviation.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the bright spot. Jason Tatum went off. He showed pretty much what that series was about. We all knew the Nets were going to win that, and we all knew that the Nets were going to win it in 4 or 5 games. I think that was no surprise. But what everyone enjoyed, even Kevin Durant, from his comments on their podcast with Eddie Gonzalez, etc., everyone enjoyed Jason Tatum's bag.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jason Tatum pulled out the Birkin, right? I mean, that dude he was pulling out all types of isolation moves. He showed us his array of Kobe Bryant inspired, post wiggles, a mid-range assault that we haven't seen since the late great Mamba, and not to mention, some type of side step back 3 that challenged James Harden, not only him but also the big body Paul Pierce himself. So. Yeah. Tatum looked amazing. I wish they would have had Jaylen Brown. Not that it would have made much of a difference. It probably would have been a 5-game series still. But Tatum looked really good. Of course, KD looked great. Irvin looked great. Harden didn't play. Harden didn't play much that series, right? No, he did play that series.
He played.
And he looked good in that series, too. I'm sorry about that. But, yeah, there's no surprise what happened there. And I think Boston knows what they need to do now. They got rid of Danny Ainge, stepped down. They exalted. Don't start, Black.
Right.
They've exalted Brad Stevens into a role.
Nah. They fired and then elevated Brad Stevens.
You're right. And that's the conversation. Like, did Brad Stevens get promoted or demoted? You know what I mean? Did he get fired or hired? You know what I mean?
But they took his charred remains
right.
and then reassembled them in the front office, right?
I'll tell you this though. Another conversation that comes out is that privilege that Stephen A. kind of bloviates about at times, right? For Brad Stevens, we don't know if he was fired or hired. Isn't that something? And I ain't never seen a brother get that treatment. You know what I mean?
Right. How you fail and then get a brand new, even more important position.
Right. With that being said, though,
I'm validated, though. I will say that, fellas. I'm taking it.
Validated or valid hated, right? I'm not sure. Just like that Brad Stevens move, right? It's hard to see right now. But before you go, Black, this is a good question right here. And if you can start off your bloviation with answering this question, I'd like to hear that.
I say Devin Booker, and we're gonna get into that later. I think Devin Booker is just he's a little bit more ahead in his progression. And I like that Devin Booker actually commits to defense. Let's be honest. Jason Tatum, he's not giving effort whatsoever when it comes to guarding somebody else on the other side. But that being said, shout out to Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum, him and Devin Booker are in the conversation for who's the next Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, he reminds me a lot of the 05 to 08 Kobe when, right after Shaq left, he was pretty much Kobe was just chucking and doing all of his moves because his team was terrible. That's what Jason Tatum looks like to me.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I want to talk about the Nets here. There was a lot of antics, right, coming from the Kyrie camp. He had made some comments about Boston fan base that I don't think anybody asked him for that info. You know what I'm saying? He also proceeds to step on the center court logo. I believe his name is Lucky the Leprechaun. Now listen, I could care less about Boston. I could care less about the logo and all that. But I do think that these types of antics are only going to be magnified the further they get in the playoffs. That being said, I lightweight want them to lose now.
Oh.
How do you guys feel?
Are we talking before the finals? What?
Yes.
Nah, I need that, man. With the Lakers gone, I mean, we're gonna get to that later, but yeah, we need Nets to salvage this season.
I'm not here to root for a team full of guys like this. And that's no knock on KD too, because I feel like KD out of all of these guys is the most level-headed in this situation. And then also shout out to James Harden for coming in and pretty much saying, look, I'll do whatever this team needs for us to win a chip. I appreciate those brothers for that. But Kyrie at this point, I mean, I've been going back and forth all year on Kyrie. At this point, I cannot rock with this guy. I cannot condone the antics anymore. How do you guys feel, man?
Leak, I'm gonna let you go. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go, Leak. Okay. I think for me, Black, the stepping and the smudging of the Lucky, although like you said, I could care less about Lucky, but just doing it was extremely petty and childish, and like it was just flat out dumb to me. Like I was like, did you need to do that, bro? Like you're a grown man. Like
and he always said when he did it, like
yeah,
right.
It was very childish. It was very like you're fighting with your kid brother and like you hit him when the parent isn't looking. It was really weird. It was like, yeah. But that's my thought. I want to see them go forward. But Lee, what'd you think, man? What's your Kyrie take?
I like both of you said, I could care less about him stepping on Lucky. I mean, that doesn't do anything. What is that? That's like his Terrell Owens moment or something like that.
Right.
Like, yeah. At the same time, Kyrie is an exceptional basketball player who can do whatever he wants on the basketball court. And Lucky happens to be on the basketball court. So, like all of his other matchups, he dominated Lucky. You know what I mean? And stepped on him, stepped over him, scored on him, right? Had his way with him. So I don't know what everybody's talking about personally. Nothing that I haven't seen him do to every other quote unquote logo around the league metaphorically. Now, I will say this. That's funny. Marsha said Kyrie on his Ricky Williams too. Yeah, he's a loop. That's for sure. He's a loop.
He's alive with a loose cannon, right?
Yeah. But with that being said, he's extremely focused on the 48 minutes at hand. And based off of that, I mean, and this is a focus this is like a Mamba-like focus, right? This is, him and Devin Booker, extremely locked in, right, to the point where their stare even looks interesting, right? It looks like looks like they're looking at something that's not necessarily even there. You know what I mean? And it's probably that Larry O'Brien. You know what I mean?
But Leak, that's the thing though, Leak. It's everything you get on the other side of the 48 minutes for me
right.
that is really starting to be magnified. Like before, the antics didn't seem this gargantuan, right?
Yeah,
and I feel like the closer they get to the chip, I can see Kyrie launching some type of platform where for children of indigenous people, and completely hijack the whole narrative that is the finals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and not that would be terrible, but it's just like it's things like this. You never know what you're gonna get from this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you don't know what you're gonna get on that side, but you know exactly what you're gonna get in those 48 minutes, and you're gonna get a guard who's going to, ninja slice the whole other team, as he makes his way through that game. So I mean, listen, I've got at this point, Kyrie is who he is, and I don't get why people continue to have an issue with it. I mean, we know he's going to do something that's deemed strange, by everybody, at least one time a week. So I'm not necessarily.
Hey, Leak, don't they know we're potting?
I know, right?
And maybe his sources, maybe.
Right.
They're always they're disrespectful, man. They don't care about the times.
Right.
I know Mark Spears, Chris Haynes, they're all tuning in right now because I see them. They know we're podding right now. But yeah, I don't get into all that with Kyrie stuff. Him and Kevin Durant are more than enough to get to the NBA Finals. Let's be very clear about that. Both players have won championships. Both players have carried a heavy load on the way to championships. I was looking at Kevin Durant highlights from Golden State the other night on a random tip, and I mean, he was just on another level, bro. Even with the help that he had. So, and the Nets, I've kind of went back and forth on them as the seasons progressed, feeling like they were going to lose at some point, self explosion or implosion and all that. I don't see it anymore. I think that 48 minutes they're locked in, they're going to run through whoever's in their way. I just feel like that.
Yeah. Fellas, we got to move it. We got to move it, man.
Booker over Tatum.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Fellas, I got to get your takes on this. Everyone's been waiting. We've been salivating to talk about this topic. The Los Angeles Lakers are out of the playoffs. First round exit. What is your take? I'm going to hear everything from Bron, AD. I want it all, fellas. Black, let's start with you with this one, man.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to you starting with him. Thank you.
Yeah. What's your take, man?
Yo, man. Well, first and foremost, I mean, we're going to start with Bron, right?
Yeah.
He's no longer in the Michael Jordan conversation. Period. The way he handled himself throughout the entire series. Listen, we know he's 36 years old. We know that the things he could do at 20 to 25, he can no longer do. But you mean to tell me that the brother doesn't have one 40-point game in his bag? You mean to tell me that the game after you said you were going to put the team on your back, you guys get blown out by 30 points? You mean to tell me that in clutch moments you're going to defer to KCP and Wes Matthews? LeBron James is no longer in that convo. I don't want to hear it anymore. And he's not in the Kobe convo. LeBron James is more than an athlete. He cares more about what's happening with his image than he does with what's happening on the court. It just so happens that on the court affects his image. Right. So he has to do just enough for it to solidify his legacy, right? But I think his legacy has come to an end on the court. And we're witnessing the end of the Bron era in the NBA. Moving past Bron now, because I know, and listen, I'm gonna let y'all formulate your thoughts as I move on. Anthony Davis, not a superstar. As many steps as Anthony Davis took forward last year with the bubble chip, he took just as many steps back. And again, much like the Miami Heat, the Lake Show's chip last year is looking extremely fluky. And this is coming from a Lakers fan. They had no heart. They didn't play like champions. Bron's body language looks terrible in this vid too, right here, right?
This is disgusting. This is disgusting.
Like, when would a goat ever? When would one of our goats ever behave like this? Right? And I know what everybody's gonna say is like, man, you can't do it all, man. Like, geez, you know. I mean, look at the rest of the team. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that because you see Luka's out there literally playing like his life depends on it. Yeah. Kawhi Leonard, even. I was hard on him. Kawhi Leonard literally put the team on his back in order to get past his first round. So to see Bron's body language like this, Anthony Davis, hey, listen, he's not a superstar. He's a porn star. He's always on his back.
Right,
all
right. Always laying down, huh?
He's always laying down on his back. I mean, this guy cannot stay healthy, can he? And then what is the rest of the team? Where was Trez? Kyle Kuzma averaging 2 points in the entire series? I could go on all day. Leak, man, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Hey, carry on, man.
hey, man. Everything you said is spot on, Black. I mean, I was disgusted in LeBron's lack of leadership. You know, somebody on my feed used the word classy when talking about the Lakers losing that series and LeBron James. And I said he's been everything but that this series. Everything but that. I mean, the guy gave up. You know, the guy clearly had no more fighting. We knew that before the series was even over. He didn't explode in that one game, right? You know, he didn't want to get back on defense. But when they get the ball, but he wants the ball in his hands. He calling for the ball. You know what I mean? Back on defense. I just felt like, you know, leaving game 5 early, I believe. Yeah,
5 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, I heard somebody defend him and say he was going to get treatment.
I'm so sick of that.
Right. You mean to tell me that Negro couldn't wait 5 minutes to get his treatment?
The game was almost over.
Again, I mean, no, really though, that's the excuse. He went to get treatment, and that's what makes it all okay. So he couldn't wait 5 minutes or 15, you know, real time minutes. He couldn't wait. He can look. The trainers is back there watching the game. You know, like the game got in for them to even be able to do their job. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, I didn't like it. I think this was, you know, people talk about, you know, LeBron having series or career defining moments constantly, and I agree. He's constantly having these moments that could potentially define his career, and a lot of times he does you know, rise to the occasion, you know, when the pressure's really, really on. But a lot of times as well, he cowers, and it's not about his performance; it's about the mentality and the lack of competitiveness. And I didn't like to see that, but the team goes where their best player goes. So we see, you know, I mean, it must be hard being a role player for Bron, man. I tell you that. It must be hard because it's like 1 minute he giving you gifts and shouting you out on IG, and, you know, got different handshakes with you. And the next minute you miss a shot and you look over at him, he's just looking at you like this. This is how he's looking at you.
He ready to throw you under the bus, right?
You're like, really? He ain't even getting back on defense. He's just looking at you like this.
He ain't thinking of trade packages for you.
Right. So you know, passive aggressiveness. You know, somebody that I use as a complete contrast to the way LeBron leads is Damian Lillard. You know what I mean? You know, you talk about class personified. You know, and not quitting on your team and leading. Even if y'all about to lose, you know, the loss could be inevitable, but it's still the way you handle yourself among that process. And LeBron James is just not good when the loss is inevitable. When the loss is inevitable, you start seeing all that stuff come out, all those little impurities, you know what I mean? All those little character flaws, the passive aggressiveness, how he really feel, you know what I mean? Like you start seeing all that kind of come out, start seeping out, and it's not cool at all. So I'm glad the Suns did that, and particularly I'm glad Devin Booker did that. A lot of people want to say, well, Bron did, because he didn't shake hands at the end either. He didn't dap up the team. No, he did sign Devin Booker's jersey, and that was, or his jersey for Devin Booker, and that was pretty interesting. A lot of people, will say, well, that's good sportsmanship, but in reality, Devin Booker went to go get his head. Basically, that's what he did. That jersey is a symbol of LeBron's head that he's going to put on his wall to show his kids that he basically killed a goat. You know what I mean? He went to the forest. He took his weaponry with him, his bow and his arrow, and he killed a goat. He got the head, and he's got the head. He took the head off the goat, and he's got it on the wall to show. And there it is, right there. That's it. And little LeBron pointed at him like, "Yep, that's the dude who did it to me." And look at Book's looking like, "Yep, I did it. I'm guilty, right? I'm the one that did it." Ain't no smiling and lovey-dovey. Ain't no I'm happy to compete against. It's like, nah, I took you out, and I got your jersey to show, and you signed your name on it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Devin Booker showed Mamba mentality. He would not have carried himself like that if he was being exited. But I don't want to harp on LeBron too much. I think Nate Curry's got some words for that. There it goes. So I'll leave it at that. Listen. The people are speaking, and whether I agree or disagree, we've got to show it is no Hesi. So it is what it is, right?
Man. Devin Booker, man. Devin Booker is a special player, man.
Let Mark go. We'll get to that. Let Mark go ahead, kind of touch on this because I know you're a Lakers fan. So
no. Just to piggyback on you guys real quick, man, it was LeBron can't have another outing like this. And when I say that, I mean it's not losing, like you said, Leak. It's the way he loses. Yeah. These things are going to diminish your GOAT status. I would almost prefer you retire with what dignity you have than to have a couple more years of this, because you're not everyone John Elway's their way into retirement. So you may not win a championship and then walk into retirement. So it's like, is this how you're gonna leave? Is this how you're gonna retire? Kind of ostracizing your teammates and just kind of being a poor sport. So man, Lakers need a lot of work. Black, you said it about Anthony Davis, man. So y'all broke that down very well. I agree 1,000%. Devin Booker and the Suns, man. What do you think about that, Black?
Man, I mean, this kid literally could get it any way he wants to, right? Like, I mean, side steps, fadeaways, off the dribble, pull up, step back, hezzy, tweens, layups, dunks. I mean, this guy has got to be Chris Brickley's wet dream, right? I mean, like he literally did whatever he wanted to do out there on the floor. Even with Chris Paul going out, he still had no doubt in his mind that he was going to get whatever he wanted out there, and he pretty much did. Shout out to Chris Paul for hanging in there and playing through the injury, which also makes Anthony Davis look bad because you got a 30-something-year-old Chris Paul with a collarbone injury still playing and playing effective minutes. I mean, what more needs to be said about how hard the Suns have worked all season? You know what I mean? Like from top to bottom, everything is reflected, on their leadership from the coaching staff. Monty Will is the respect bar is just rising with him. Mm-hmm. He seems like he's saying all the right things. CP's got everybody locked in with a mentality of there's only one destination here. Anything else has failed. You know what I'm saying? You got Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder ate, all those antics that, Bron and the Lake Show were putting on when, when they had that game in the books, and came back and turned around and punched Bron right back in the mouth, right?
Yeah.
So I really like the way the Suns are set up. And honestly, I mean, we're going to get into it, but I'm honestly rooting for them to go all the way now at this point.
Yeah,
what you think, Lee?
I think the Suns can do it too. I think they got all the makeup they need: the coach, the point guard, the role players, the toughness, the interior force, and a killer on the wing. So I think they got everything, and they've got the confidence. They've taken out a giant. You know what I mean? Anthony Davis, I got no words for that.
Yeah.
I got no words for that, man. I mean, I'll tell you this. In hindsight, it's 2020, right? Lakers would have been very smart to keep that young core that they had with Ingram, Lonzo, Josh Hart, and then to get AD in free agency the next season. You do that. You still got a guy like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart coming off the bench, to kind of keep things afloat when LeBron is acting and playing like that. You know what I mean? But Anthony Davis, man, they gave up the farm and the house for him, and he can't even play. I mean, he's Mr. Glass. He's brittle. I mean, yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like the mentality. I think he thinks he's done what Bron's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all I got for that. Yeah, Jay Crowder, shout out to Jay Crowder. Ain't no fun when no Wabbit got the gun. I like that.
Yo, let me ask y'all this because, historically, a Bron-led team becomes it goes from being a supernova to a black hole as soon as he leaves. What does the Lakers' future post Bron look like? Because they have no youth.
Yeah, there is no future.
Yeah, there's none. You can't even imagine that. You can't even.
Yeah.
That's what LeBron does. Once he leaves, it's emptiness. It's desolation. It's a black void. Yeah. Shout out to the Miami Heat for being able to somewhat bounce back. I mean, they're still trying to figure it out, but shout out to them.
Yeah, man. Couldn't agree more, fellas. Let's get into round 2 and some of our predictions for the semifinal series. We'll start in the West. I guess we could start with. It looks like it's going to be the Suns, and I'm forgetting who they're matching up with.
Hey, fellas, how would y'all feel if we just run through the second round, just give our picks, basically?
Let's do it.
Hold the bloviation.
Yep, let's do it. So we got LA Clippers, Utah. Leak, who you got?
Man, this is gonna be a good series. I'm gonna go with Utah.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Utah in probably like 7 games. Yeah.
All right, Black.
I'm also going with the new Spurs, Utah.
Woo. I'm going Clippers 7 games. Yeah. So now let's move on to Denver versus Phoenix. This should be a good one. Leak, who you got?
Man, I got Phoenix. Denver, they would need Jamal Murray in this situation. Yep. Phoenix needs Chris Paul too, but Devin Booker he's going to show Jokic is an MVP candidate, but Devin Booker will be the best player on the floor. It's going to be a Kobe like S show.
I also think this is going 7 games. I'm going with Phoenix as well. Chris Paul has to be healthy though, or at least some semblance of health needs to be shown from Chris Paul.
Yeah. I'm going Phoenix in 7 as well.
Okay.
So now we're moving on to the East. We have Philly versus Atlanta. Leak, who you got?
I got Atlanta, man. I got Atlanta, and I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be able to go every game this series. I think they're going to have to pick and choose their spots. And I got Atlanta in 6.
Yeah. Who you got, Black?
Wow. And we didn't completely 180 on ATL. I'm going with Philly, man. I'm going with Philly in 6.
I'm going Atlanta in 6, man. That just felt right. It just feels right, man. Ice track. All right. So now we have Milwaukee against Brooklyn. Who you got? Who you got, Lee?
You go ahead and give it to Black, man. You already know, man.
All right, Black. Who you got?
I'm going with the Bucks in 7.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. Maybe I do need to go. All right. The audacity of you to think that Giannis, right, and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and Holden Poop and Mike Budenholzer is going to be able to stop Kyrie Irving from achieving his goal. I got to rethink our friendship, Black. I got to rethink our friendship. So yeah, I got the Nets in 6.
All right. Yeah, I have the Nets in 7 games. So, man, that's our second round picks. Before we move on, I just want to say I called Lakers in 6. You know what I mean?
You did.
But anyway,
you spoke that into existence.
Right. All right, fellas. Well, I mean, this has been a great show. We're almost out of here. But we can't just leave, you know what I mean? We have to pay Hoop homage, right? So we're gonna be turning it over to Leak. But before we do, man, just want to thank everyone who's watching this again live and those who are watching the replay. Thank you. We love the interaction. So, man, without further ado, Leak, the floor is yours.
All right. So I appreciate you. Thank you all for staying tuned in up to this point. We appreciate y'all. And I'll go ahead and get this off the screen so that way we can get the new adjustment on there. This week's Hoop Homage, I feel like it was just fitting to put in a player that showed extreme poise, extreme discipline and fight for his team. And it's not going to be something that we're going to have to go back in deep in the history books to even see. It's something that all we have to do is look at the highlights from the last 2 weeks. Luka Doncic. All right. We're going to look at his round 1 highlights. Even though they took the L, this dude was something special. And he is who we are paying our hoop homage to at 22 years old to be able to dominate the 2 best perimeter defenders in the league with no help. All right. Another thing to note is Pat Beverly had to sit for the rest of the series. I don't think he played the last 2 games. He was a liability on the defensive end. All right. Isn't that something? Oh, yeah. So we're gonna watch the array of cooks. I mean, this dude is legendary already, man. And I don't get it. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. I don't know.
Is he this generation's Larry Bird?
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's a combo of Larry Bird and Magic.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm being dead serious too. I say that because his flair for the game.
Yeah.
He seems more of a showman than Bird was.
Right.
Bird in that complexion. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Bird
was a showman.
And not being afraid out there. What are you saying, Lee?
I was just saying Bird was a showman too. Bird had some very nice passing skills.
Yeah.
He talked a lot of trash out there. But yeah, like to your point, Black, Luke is even more Bird than Bird, right? And just imagine in the next couple of years as he gets more confidence. I mean, just like he was the Morris twins' father this series, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the Morris twin is a tough guard. He's a good defensive player. He's a goon. He's supposed to be able to be on the perimeter. Look, and Kawhi doesn't want to fight through because he knows what happens if he comes up. You know what I mean? So
right. I seen him body Kawhi. I think this is it in a post. a couple times. Look at this.
Mm.
Mamba. And that's on Kawhi.
Right.
A perennial all defensive player.
And what was that? A one-footed three on Rondo? Like, yeah, man. So
I heard they've been. My sources tell me. I heard that they've already began XXX Tentacion talks for Luka.
I can see that.
They want to, you know what I'm saying? They want to give him a 100-round drum, basically, right?
Right.
That extendo.
Right. And it doesn't even have a number on the contract. It just says max, right? So whatever that is, right? Whatever, everything down to the penny that organization can let out for a player. You know what I mean? In his scenario,
they're gonna squeeze that. You know what I'm saying? That bank account to keep him happy, right?
Yep.
Ty Lue had to adjust his mask after that play, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just he's got everybody going crazy. You know, Dallas is loving it.
Look at this. Look. Look, that's how little he feared Zubac's defense.
Right.
He gonna spider dribble under his leg, lose the handle, right?
And
pull it back and still pull the three.
Back.
Right. Look at that. I don't understand it, man. I don't understand it, but I love it.
One thing Lucas got to work on moving forward. We kind of talked about it off mic, but I didn't bring this part up. He's likely got to chill on the refs, man.
Yep.
Hey, look, you can't get every call, bro. All right.
Yeah. No, I agree. And what I like is he didn't this series. You see him go between the legs on the PG swipe and then step back. Like he's literally like, yeah. So what I was gonna say, Black, yeah, that's just ridiculous. He's just having fun with it. But I was happy to see that he did not do much ref complaining work. Like, he go like that to the ref after a play on his way back down, but he didn't stop to kind of like, bloviate and have a conversation back and forth with the ref during the playoffs, which I appreciated that. And ultimately, I think it's setting the tone for how he's going to be called throughout his career, right? He's going to be one of those guys that are coddled as an offensive player. And so, that's going to be a good look for him. I don't like it much, but I see why he does it, and I'm glad he didn't do it in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, man. Luke is on the next level for sure.
Mark, what you think about his game, Mark? I want to hear you talk about him real quick, man.
It's as smooth as butter. It's smooth as butter, man. I love the ride and decide that he's doing where he got the guy on his hip and he's kind of just like, and then he'll just float it. I'm just like, his pace is he's like Paul Pierce on steroids to me.
Right.
And I love it, man. I love it.
Look at that.
I like that ride and decide.
Yep.
So yeah, man, just wanted to show some love to Luka. We're not going to see this again till 2022.
Jeez.
So,
yeah,
man.
Hey, his shot is it translated a lot better than I thought it would too.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's an interesting looking shot too. He doesn't get off the ground. He doesn't shoot. He doesn't jump high at all. He barely jumps. Similar to LaMelo, he barely jumps when he shoots it. And I'm sure people would consider wanting
where
to
was
change
Paul
that.
George passing that?
What was that?
Yeah.
And Porzingis want to finish like he a rim runner now, right?
He want to finish like he liked contact, right? So yeah, man, that's the hoop homage for the week. None other than the great Euro GOAT Luka Doncic, man. I hope y'all enjoyed that.
We appreciate that, League. Thank you so much for the hoop homage, man. So guys, we're out of here, man. We did it. This was a long episode, but we had a lot of meat on the bone. So we hope that everyone enjoyed it. We want to encourage you to please, like I said, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. And then when you're done with that, head on over to No Hesi on Instagram and follow us there because it's lit over there. You know what I mean? So, fellas, that's all for me. I'm going to give you guys the last words, and then we're going to get up out of here. Black?
Man, I just want to say that I've been enjoying this year's playoffs. There's nothing like it, right? There's nothing like the intensity. The stakes are high, and we get to see the expose, if you will, of a lot of these guys that we have in these conversations. So it's been a blast to watch and talk to you guys about it. Shout out to the No Hesi community, man. You guys are, I say, the greatest sports community in the world. We're very appreciative of you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the playoffs as much as we do moving forward.
Lee?
Hey man, I got a second with Black said. You know, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the chat, the live feed. It's off the chain. I mean, I love the uncensored rawness of it, from the jokes to the insight. You know what I mean? To adding to the show. So it's a beautiful thing, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, so every time we go live on Mondays, you could be in the loop. But yeah, bro, I love the game. I enjoy the playoffs are off the chain for me. I love seeing players go to the next level, and the playoffs is where they do it at. From Devin Booker to Luka to Trae Young, you know what I mean. Julius Randle wasn't able to do that, so that sucks. But you know, I just love to see that fighting through the pressure, coming out the other side. It does wonders for them in the next season. So I just appreciate the hoop, and thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you brothers for hopping on with us, man.
Absolutely, man. We up out of here. But before we do, I did want to say this. I hope the fellas won't be too upset with me. But man, we cooking up something special for y'all, man, in the coming weeks. So we love this live interaction, and we want to encourage you, man. There's gonna be more news coming, so you want to stick with No Hesi, man. We got some, you know, the world is opening up, and you might see the brothers together at last, right? So stay tuned. But for No Hesi, man, this is Marcus, and we are out of here. Peace.